What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, Jeremy Wormy. And considering people have been deriding, berating Sega and everything that it's been going within the localization arena, being that Japan themselves are actually doing the censorship in forms of Like a Dragon, Yakuza. Well, it's Like a Dragon and Yakuza are the exact same thing. You had the producer actually come out and say that localizers weren't actually changing their games, when in reality he also said in a subsequent interview from the Japan Times that yes, actually localizers were changing the games, and they were going to them for representation issues and stuff like that. I talked about a recent game, Persona 3, and Persona 3, the remake essentially, and how Sega was also censoring out content from there, taking out a trans joke and everything like that, because it's gonna hurt the people in the West. It's gonna make their fifis all hurt in situations like that. All this revolving around Sega. And before somebody comes in saying no, it was Atlas that did Persona, Sega owns Atlas. Just trying to make sure of this. But this is a constant ongoing battle. Localizers, Western influences, things of that nature infecting Japanese culture, infecting Japanese products, infecting Japan as a whole. And one of the big reasons behind that is things like ESG. ESG money flowing throughout all of Japan into these big industries, into these big corporations. This is a big corporate issue that is going on throughout all of the world right now in regards to issues like wokeness seeping into this stuff. Well, we might have a changing of the tide going on over at Japan, and something to actually look forward to, because actually investors in Japan drain 4.5 billion as they exit ESG funds. Yep, that's right. So there's a bunch of investors throughout all of Japan basically dumping their ESG money. ESG money has been rolling in for the past couple of years and basically going all over the place, infecting every which way. And when it comes to ESG funds, ESG money, ESG anything, the reality is it comes at a cost. Nothing in this world is free, and you wouldn't be surprised that ESG money isn't for free either, but it's a little bit different than most of your investment money, venture capital money, and things of that nature. ESG money basically makes it so that you have to socially be aware at the same time as basically everything else, and deals with stakeholder capitalism, not just normal capitalism. Basically, what it does is makes your company into a woke brand, a company that must come out in support of BLM, trans rights, doing things like what Nike does, for example. Nike is a perfect example of this, being a super woke company, going around, spreading the cheer of Black Lives Matters, everything like that. But while they are doing that, they subsequently also have child labor camps all throughout China, and bow down before the Chinese embassy, doing things of that nature, and looking the other way at certain situations that go on over there, because they say things like Black Lives Matter, because they say things like trans rights, because they say things like love is love and everybody can be fine, women strong, things of that nature. They completely, it's basically cake with no substance. No, that's not the right word. I can't think of the correct word, but essentially, as long as they go around saying all these woke social justice points, they get a bunch of money flowing in. You basically sign away all your rights, all your care for the world and any position you actually have with this ESG money. So with all that reality, that on top of that, you also have to deal with your environmental score, your social score, your governance scores. You have all these scores you have to keep track of. It's no surprise that Japan has finally been one of the more recent countries actually, to kind of start waking up to the ESG scam that it is, and started dumping a bunch of the money, realizing that it's not very cohesive with the country as a whole and very aligned with anything that they have. You have to realize that over in Japan, they like their scantily clad women. They like to have racy jokes now and then. They like to make fun of stuff, and they like to have a good time. Even though it's a more conservative country, they like to push the boundaries within their forms of art. ESG does not allow for their art. ESG does not allow for their way of life, and ESG would actually end up corrupting their country and turning it around. Now you have basically $4.5 billion, 660 billion yen being kicked out because companies are just kicking it to the curb. Companies don't want it anymore. Companies don't care about it. And this is all recently after a 2021 boom of ESG money kind of trickling all throughout the entire industry and changing it. And now you see that people kind of don't want to be there anymore. Rather than being a response to investor demands but for sustainable investment, ESG was seen as a theme, said Daisuke Moriarty, director of manager research at Morningstar Japan. And that's kind of what it was. ESG is a theme. ESG is not something that can actually be sustainable and assist with actual investment and anything like that. ESG ultimately is this big virtue signal money that comes in, corrupts you, and you must adhere to their way of life, their rules, everything that they do just to get the money to continue coming on. Kind of like a drug in some way. And it's nice to see that Japan is actually waking up to this and kicking it to the curb. The reason I'm saying that is because you're going to start seeing more likely less instances as Sega doing things like this. Sega is allowing Western localizers to come in and actually butcher their games and change things around. And because it's not so, it's culturally insensitive to the people in the West. And it's going to allow for Japan to actually care more about their products, care more about the things they put out, and allow for more things like this to go on as a Sega America to lay off 61 employees. That's right, you have 61 localizers from Sega America actually getting terminated along with this. And it's nice to see that as ESG money leaves Japan, a lot of these Western localizers are also losing their job because they're finding out that they're kind of not all that worth it. And more than likely, a lot of our products will quit being localized in the process as well. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me get your guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out, friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live, guys. And I'll see you all on the next one. Bye for now.